Hi, my name is Sam, and in this demo I'm going to show you how you can perform digital input and output using a USB X series multifunction DAC device. So this is a multifunction device, which means that it has analog, digital, and counter circuitry. In this demo, we're going to be focusing on the digital subsystem. So let's move over to my hardware setup. The first thing I have connected to my X series device is a push button switch, so this will be a digital input. When I press down, it'll be high, and when I release, it'll be low. Other digital inputs include things like limit switches. On the digital output side, you'll see here that I have an LED wired to the DAC device, and when we apply 5 volts to it, or a digital output high, the LED is going to be on, and when there's no voltage, it'll be off. So other digital outputs include things like relays, which are used for driving pumps and motors. So that's the hardware setup. Let's move into LabVIEW, and I'll show you how you can actually generate and acquire some digital I/O. So we're going to start with the digital input. So on the LabVIEW block diagram, I'll go to Input, DAC Assistant, and put it on the block diagram. We're going to be acquiring a digital signal, so I'll say Acquire, Digital Input, Line Input. The push button switch is connected to port 0, line 0, so I'll select that. And then in this dialog window, I can select other settings, such as to invert the line. I don't want to. It looks good as it is, and one sample on demand is just great. So I'll click OK. And the DAC Assistant is going to generate the code that we need to input this data. So the next step will be to actually display it on the LabVIEW front panel. So I'll say I want to create an indicator. And then I just want the first line on that port, so I'll select that. And then the last thing I want to do is put this code into a while loop such that it executes continuously until I tell the program to stop. So I'll again right-click and say Execution Control, while loop, and drag this around the code that I want to repeat. You'll see that a stop button has automatically been placed on our front panel, so I'll just move that over. And I can go ahead and run the program. And now you'll see when I press down on the push button switch, it's high in LabVIEW, and similarly when I let go, it's off in LabVIEW. So push down, on, release, and it's off. So that's working great. So that's how you do a digital input. Let me show you how you can do a digital output. So I'll simply delete this code and start from scratch on the LabVIEW block diagram. And I'm going to again right-click on the block diagram and select Output and DAC Assistant. This time I'm going to say Generate Signals, Digital Output, and Line Output. I have the LED connected to port 1, line 0, so I'll select that. And again, this is going to be one sample on demand. So I'll click OK. So because we're generating a signal, we need some source for that data, and in this case it's going to be user-controlled by a control on our LabVIEW front panel. So what I'll do now is put down a Boolean control, so just on-off, on the front panel, and you'll see that there's a corresponding terminal put on the block diagram, so I'll put that down. And this DAC Assistant is going to be expecting a one-dimensional array, so all I need to do is convert this scalar data of the Boolean into an array, so I'll add that function. And again, similar to what I did with the digital input, I'm going to create a while loop and put it around this code, such that it executes continuously until I tell it to stop. And here's my stop button on the front panel. So everything looks good, so I'll go ahead and run it. So I'll click Run, and you'll notice that when I toggle the Boolean by clicking here on the front panel, my LED blinks on and off. So there you have it, a really easy way to perform digital input and digital output using USB X series and LabVIEW.